for the introductions, law is an official set of regulations that are upheld by government organizations. The goals of the law are to uphold social order, defend individual rights, and advance justice. Since justice is ultimately a result of moral principles, it is clear that legal norms and frameworks must support justice. Meanwhile, ethics is a body of moral rules that define what people and cultures consider to be right and bad. The concept of law and ethics in information management are linked and serve as guidelines for the proper gathering, storing, using and sharing of information. While legal requirements are outlined in legislations, ethical considerations explore the moral standard that guide behavior while managing information. The key differences between law and ethics. First, definitions. Law is official rule enforced by authorities, meanwhile ethics is more about moral principle from cultures, belief or philosophy. For their nature, law is objective and universal, meanwhile ethics is subjective and flexible. And for the enforcement, law is about legal punishment, while ethics is social or professional consequences. Meanwhile, for the flexibility, law is rigid and slow to change, but ethics adapts to new situations and values quickly. Last but not least, scope of influences. Law applies where formal laws exist, but ethics guides behavior even where no law applies.
Next, we will go into the definition and the differences between law, ethics, procedures, and standards. First, law, in the context of information management, is the most commonly used to refer to formal enforceable regulations promulgated by a government or regulatory agency. For example, Malaysia's Personal Data Protection Act 2010, also known as PDPA, that define how organizations gather, process, store, and transfer information. Next is ethics. Ethics of information are ethical guidelines about right and wrong behavior in the whole process of information generation, organization, dissemination, and utilization of information. Although ethical violations may not be punishable by law, but can result in damage to reputation, loss of trust, or job-related disciplinary action. The definition of standards. Standards are defined as the order of arrangements such as technical specification, best practices, or frameworks that are created by groups like ISO. This is to facilitate consistent, secure, and interoperable information management. Information context includes examples like ISO 27001 for Information Security Management or NIST's Cybersecurity Framework. And lastly, procedures. Procedures are defined as detailed and specific step-by-step guides that are typically recorded in Standards Operating Procedures, also known as SOPs. SOP are which state exactly how a given activity is to be carried out to ensure standards, policy, or legislation. When steps are skipped or missed apart, companies risk inefficiency, security violations, audit failure, and even legal exposure when there is no paper trail of rightful action. The table shows the differences between law, ethics, standards, and procedures in the aspect of description, agency, resources, impacts, and the consequences. Next is the similarities between law, ethics, standards, and procedures. The first similarities are all aims to regulate information used responsibly. Second, all guide behavior and decision making. And third, all contribute to responsible information governance. And lastly, all require documentation, training, and enforcement.
Next is implication of information, ethics, and law. Law and ethics go hand in hand. Ethics fill in the blanks where the law is silent or unclear, encouraging individuals to conduct morally even when it is not required by law. Laws establish enforceable regulation and consequences. Social media platforms, for instance, are permitted by law to gather user data, but they should also give consumers control over their data and be open and honest about how it's used. The implication of law and information ethics are essential to maintaining fairness, security, and respect for human rights in the digital world. Legislation ensures accountability, whereas ethics directs responsible conduct. Together, they help in striking a balance between the need to protect ownership, privacy, and general well-being, and the right to utilize information. Next, we have implications of information ethics and law on protections of intellectual property rights. Right here, we have key categories of intellectual properties. The first type, we have patent, and then we have copyright, trademark, trade secret, design rights, and database right. For patent, their protection covers inventions, processes, technical solutions. The duration is 20 years, and the purpose is incentive innovation. For copyright, their protection covers over creative works, books, music, software, and art. Their duration is the life of the creator plus 50 or 70 years. The purpose is to protect original expression. Next is the trademark. The trademark protection covers distinctive words, phrase, logos, or symbols identifying products or services. The duration is renewable, 10 years. The purpose is to distinguish goods and prevent confusion. Next, we have trade secrets. The protection covers over the confidential business info with economic value. For example, formula practices. The duration is as long as secret is maintained. Their purpose is to guard business advantage. Other than that, we have design rights. The protection covers over appearance or design of a product. The duration varies, often 15 to 25 years. Their purpose is to safeguard unique aesthetic. Lastly, we have database rights. Their protection covers over original collections of data and their structure. The duration is 15 years and it is renewable. And then the purpose is to protect investor effort in data structure. Next, we have implications of information ethics and law on information and data privacy and security. For data privacy, the rights and guidelines regarding the gathering, usage, storing, and sharing of personal data are referred to as data privacy. It places an extreme value on empowering power to manage their own data, protecting their identity, and maintaining organizational trust. The legal protection, we have GDPR, also known as General Data Protection Regulation. It empowers individuals with rights to their data, including access, erasure, and objection to processing. Next, we have CCPA, also known as California Consumer Privacy Act. It grants consumers the right to know, delete, and output of the sale of personal data. Lastly, we have other jurisdictions have similar laws and guidelines that exist globally, reflecting a trend towards stronger individual data rights. Next, on information and data privacy and security, we have data security, safeguarding information. Data security is about protecting information from unauthorized access, disclosure, alteration, or destruction. It is both an ethical obligation and a legal necessity. Strong security must be implemented and maintained in order to protect people from harm such as identity theft, financial fraud, etc. It is also to preserve trust in digital services. Serious harm to one's reputation, finances, and social standing can result from carelessness or intentional breaches of security. Lastly, on information and data privacy and security, we have the comparison. For the aspect, we have information ethics, data privacy, and data security. For information ethics, its core principle is human dignity and fairness. The legal requirement is none, and ethical best practices is promote equity and participation. Next, in aspect, we have data privacy. Their core principle is consent, control, limitation. Their legal requirement is GDPR, CCPA, global data laws. Their best practices is privacy by design or minimization. Lastly, we have data security. Their core principle is protection, confidentiality, and their legal requirements are breach notifications, security audits. Their best practices is proactive safeguards and transparency.
Hi, we can see this is implication of information ethics and law on social justice, equality, and inclusivity. First of all, we can see introduction, digital age transform, generation, distribution, and access to information that create opportunity across sector but bring ethical and legal challenges. We also can see social justice in information access, that fair distribution of information opportunities and resources. That it will enable all communities to participate in social equally. We can see quality in information access, that is equal access, use, and benefit from information for all, that eliminate discrimination based on race, gender, religion, disability, or status. Next is inclusivity in information access. We also can see human right and information access under HR Article 19 is right to seek, receive, and share information. Next is role of information laws and ethics. As we know, information law is legal framework for collecting, sharing, and using information. Information ethics is moral standards guiding behavior in information management. Furthermore, is legal framework that ensuring equal access and protecting freedom of expression and preventing discrimination. Next is ethical principle in information management, include accountability, honesty, justice, respect for individual freedom. Okay, next is Malaysian constitutional guarantees. In example, Federal Constitution Article 8 bracket 1 is equality before the law. Next is freedom of expression and access to information in Malaysia. Article 10, freedom of speech and expression with restriction, and also call to reform to align with international human rights standards. In conclusion, information ethics and law significantly impact on social justice, equality, and inclusivity. Next is implication of information ethics and laws on good governance. Information ethics and laws impact accountability, integrity, and governance. Digital age requires strong ethical and legal frameworks for information management. We can see good governance in information management, which include rules and practices ensuring responsible, lawful, and ethical information handling. It is balanced individual right and collective benefit. Legal compliance, staying within law, protecting data security, privacy, intellectual property, and freedom of information. Next is other relevant Malaysian law. Example, Official Secret Act 1972, Communication and Multimedia Act 1998. It also freedom of information effort. Next is ethical principles. It is go beyond legal compliance to guide conduct that emphasize accountability, transparency, justice, fairness, respect for autonomy. Ethical governance in technology, the emerging tech such as artificial intelligence, big data, and Internet of Things raise complex ethical issues. Next is transparency. Transparency is clear process for collecting, processing, and sharing information that build trust and reduce uncertainty in business and democratic settings. Accountability, that ensures individuals managing information are responsible for action and decision. It also includes clear roles, monitoring complaints, and enforcing sections. Example, Malaysia bodies such as MCMC and Personal Data Protection Commissioner. Next is Malaysia involving legal and ethical landscape. The recent reforms show Malaysia's commitment to strong information governance, PDPA modification, AI guidelines, discussion on FOI law reflect adaptability. The challenges remain digital divide, restriction on free speech, and gaps in anti-discrimination laws. Lastly is future directions for good governance that address challenges through multi-stakeholder collaboration, ethical education, continuous legal reform. It fosters public trust, equality, and inclusive in information access. So overall, we can see good governance give a good benefit impact to our nation and also our people. Thank you.
For the conclusion, why information ethics and law matter? First of all, it gives impact on professionals such as legal work, information technology, healthcare, journalism, and business. Information ethics and law promotes credibility and trust between professionals and the general public by promoting adherence to these standards. It is also acts as a guidance for moral decision making, particularly when faced with difficult information-related conundrums. Additionally, information ethics law helps professionals uphold ethical and legal standards in their work by supporting adherence to rules and regulations pertaining to intellectual property, data security, and privacy. And for the social and economic development, it gives impact such as promotes digital trust, ensures fair access to info, encourages innovations, builds economic stability, and reduces cyber risks. The growth of social and economic progress is significantly supported by information ethics and law. In the current information-based society, it enables sustainable development in addition to upholding ethical standards. Last but not least, awareness initiative. In support of information ethics and law awareness, proactive and reactive actions are required. Proactive action includes holding workshops, integrating information ethics and law into the curriculums, starting public campaigns, and establishing institutional codes of ethics. All these actions avoid misconduct as they create a good foundation of responsibility and knowledge. For reactive measures are necessary, though in case of violations, this includes levying disciplinary actions, offering remedial training, and conducting post-incident policy reviews to avert future threats. Together, this work towards creating an environment of ethical and legal accountability in managing and using information.